What is up, everybody? My name is Logan Strom. Welcome to CTF Strom Talks Football. Today, I'm going to be giving you guys my opinion on who I think is the best player on every NFL team. I thought this would be interesting because there's a lot of teams that you can say a lot of players that could be the best, and then there's a couple teams where it's so obvious that it's kind of boring. So I just want to give you guys my opinion on who I think the best player is on every team. So let's not waste any more time. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, turn on notification bells so you don't miss any of my videos whenever I post. Well, out of the way, let's get started. So the first team we've got here is the Arizona Cardinals. There's a few players you can name here that you can say is the best player, and you wouldn't be wrong. Like Kyler Murray, James Conner, like those are some good options. Like Marvin Harrison Jr. has been kind of like embarrassing, like he hasn't been that good, but you could say him, I guess. Or you could say Trey McBride. That's another good one. But I'm going to one player who just recently got paid, but it's not just because he got paid, but I'm going to him because he has been exceptionally well. Even though he's been like quiet the last couple of years, he's still putting up really good stats, and that player is Budda Baker. I mean, it's not like Budda Baker's really been all that quiet either. He's been exceptionally well. Like 142 combined tackles, 54 assists, 2 sacks. Like that's pretty damn good for a safety. And even in their worst seasons, for the Cardinals, like Budda Baker's always been there, and he's always been one of the best players in the NFL when it comes to safety position. So you could easily say Kyler Murray, James Conner, or Trey McBride, but I'm giving it to Budda Baker. Next team we've got is the Atlanta Falcons, and if you say Kirk Cousins, you just haven't been watching football. Like come on, dude. There's some good answers out there. Like, you could say Kyle Pitts, even though he's still been underused. You could say Jesse Bates. You could say Justin Simmons. But to me, I'm going to give it to Bijan Robinson because he's elite. So far, he's having the best season of his career. 1,100 rushing yards, 8 touchdowns. Like, he's been incredible this season, even on a dysfunctional Falcons team. Like, there's no excuses for the Falcons to be 7-7. There's no excuses for the Falcons to be as dysfunctional as they are. But at least they have one thing, is that Bijan Robinson has been really good this season, especially in fantasy. So yeah, I thought this one was pretty easy. Bijan was a pretty easy answer for me. Next team we've got is the Baltimore Ravens, and I hate the quarterback answers just because they're so boring. But with this team especially, like it's so hard not to. Like it's Lamar Jackson. Like we already know how great he is. Like shout out to Derrick Henry because he's been really good this season, but just listen to Lamar's numbers, bro. 3,580 passing yards, 34 touchdowns, 3 picks, a passing rating of 120.7. Like, that's incredible. I love Derrick Henry, and I really wanted to say that he's the best player on the Ravens, even though he's truly not. It's Lamar, and he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Next team we've got is the Buffalo Bills. Again, kind of boring answer, but there's really no competition with this one. It's Josh Allen. It's not even close. In my opinion, the best quarterback in the league right now, like listen to this, 3,395 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, only 5 picks, and a passer rating of 103.5. You might say Lamar's passing rating and his touchdown-interception ratio is better, and you might be right, but it's just the fact that Josh Allen has been the main reason why the Bills have been playing so well. And he's been if you watch him play, he plays like he's been the best quarterback this season. And he has. Like, his ability to avoid pressure and just throw the ball accurately on the run like he does, like, it's incredible. People talk about how Mahomes is so incredible when it comes to, like, throwing the ball on the run and, like, escaping pressure. But I think Josh Allen does it better. So, yeah, not really close at all, but, yeah, Josh Allen is the best player on the Bills, hands down. Next team we've got is the Carolina Panthers, and it is Bryce Young, baby! I'm just kidding. Let's be realistic here. I can't believe I'm saying this, but this season so far, the best player has been Chuba Hubbard. Like, I can't believe I'm saying that, but, like, just listen to his stats. 1,000 rushing yards, 4.6 yards a carry, 8 touchdowns. Like, that's really good stats. Like, I don't really care for Chuba Hubbard at all, but just even for him, like, that's really good. And he's been, like, the only good player on the Panthers this season. Like, I'm starting to think that, like, because they looked a lot better lately, they just don't have that much talent. But the reason why they've been playing so good lately is because of their coaching, but it's also because of how Chuba Hubbard's been playing. So, yeah, kind of a shocker for me as well. But, yeah, I think Chuba Hubbard right now is the best player on the Panthers. Next team we've got is the Chicago Bears, and I love this answer. I mean, you could say guys like DJ Moore or DeAndre Swift, or if you really want to be delusional, you can say Caleb Williams right now, but, like, not yet. But for me, I'm going to go with Jalen Johnson, and here's why. Like, his stats might not sound that flashy, like only 40 tackles and then 2 picks, but this is the reason why. Like, hardly any quarterback will throw towards his direction because, like, he has put up, like, the most impact when it comes to all the corners in football. He's one of the best corners in the league when it comes to, like, guarding the receiver well and making sure he never gets open, like, creating pressure for the QB. Like, he's incredible, man. And also, this is just a suggestion. Like, please watch his Pro Bowl, like, video. Like, because of the Pro Bowl voting, please watch his video of why he should get voted in. It's hilarious. Like, you gotta watch it. So, yeah, Jalen Johnson, in my opinion, is the best player on the Bears right now. Next team we've got is the Bengals, and there are only 2 legit options you can say here. I mean, I guess 3. You could say Trey Hendrickson. But there's Joe Burrow, and then there's this man, Ja'Marr Chase. I'm sorry, Joe Burrow fans, and I know Joe Burrow has been incredible this season, but, like, Ja'Marr Chase has been the best receiver in football this season. Like, 1,413 receiving yards, 15 touchdowns, averages 14 yards, like every single time he gets the ball. Like, he's been insane. He's been playing like rookie Ja'Marr Chase on steroids, dude. Like, he's been incredible this season. So, as much as I would love to say Joe Burrow's been the best player on this team, like, he hasn't. Like, it's been Ja'Marr Chase, and honestly, it's not really even close. Like, Ja'Marr Chase is elite. Next team we've got is the Browns, and I know he really hasn't been as great as he usually is, but I just think he's still the best player on this team, and it's Myles Garrett. I mean, I guess I won't say he hasn't been great. Like, I apologize for that. No, he's been great. Like, 11 sacks, like 38 tackles. Like, come on, Logan. What are you thinking? Those are some great stats. He's been great. I just haven't been watching the Browns that much just because there's really no interest other than, like, Jameis Winston starting, which sadly he's not anymore, so I have no reason to watch this team anymore. He might, like, Myles Garrett has been pretty quiet compared to, like, other defensive players, I will say that, like, confidently, but he has been really good, and I still think he's been the best player on this team. Next team we've got is the Cowboys, and honestly, you could say 2 players here, but I'm going to give it to CeeDee Lamb. I know Micah Parsons is incredible, but I honestly think he's a little overrated compared to other defenders. Like, he's not the best defender in the NFL. Like, he's been getting kind of exposed, like, a few games. Like, I know he hasn't been the healthiest, but still. Like, he might not be doing as great as last season, but at the same time, I got to give him a little bit of credit. Like, he's played with 2 different quarterbacks this season. One of them's the starting quarterback where he wasn't even all that great this season. Like, don't give that excuse that the Cowboys would be doing better with Dak Prescott because he hasn't been all that good, like, when he did play. And then now he has a backup quarterback in Cooper Rush, and he's still putting up good numbers. 1,000 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns, averages 11 yards per run. Like, that's still really good. Again, nowhere near as good so far as last season, but you got to give him credit when he's having he's on a team that's been struggling as much as the Cowboys. Like, he's still really good, and he's still the best player on the Cowboys. Next team we've got is the Broncos, and in my opinion, the best player on this team is Pat Surtain II. He is, in my opinion, the best corner in the league, man. Like, he's incredible. There's no corner that can, like, put up the stats that he can. There's no corner that can, like, shut down a receiver like him. Like, he is literally a no-fly zone corner. Like, he's insanely good. He's one of those corners where every single offense has to try to scheme around, like, away from him. Like, he's incredibly good and one of the best players the Broncos have had in a long time. And he's by far the best player on this team. Next team we've got is the Lions, and this one's pretty tough. I say it's tough because, honestly, like, I can't really say this one just because he hasn't been healthy this season and, like, he just hasn't really played. But Aiden Hutchinson, deep down, in my opinion, is the best player on this team, but I just can't say his name, like, this season. So I'm going to go with the second best player, in my opinion, deep down, but so far he's been the best player this year, and that is Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is the best receiver in the league when it comes to route running. Like, his ability to route run is incredible. Like, watch the receiver show, like, on Netflix where it shows, like, a few receivers. Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of them. Like, watch how he, like, runs his routes. Like, he's insanely good. And also, listen to his stats. Like, 1,000 receiving yards, 10 touchdowns, averages 11 yards per run. Like, he's really good. And he's definitely likable. Like, he might be kind of douchey when it comes to, like, his podcast, but if you, listen to the guy talk, like, take a look at his podcast. Like, he actually is pretty cool. Like, I like him a lot. Like, deep down, I still think Aiden Hutchinson's the best player, but I would give Amon-Ra St. Brown the crown this year, but deep down, he is the second best. Next team we've got is the Packers. And this one was kind of tough because I almost said Jordan Love, but I'm going to give it to Josh Jacobs. He's definitely playing a whole lot better than last season with the Raiders. Like it shows how much he's enjoyed playing with a new team this season, a team that's actually good, and like a team that actually has a decent O-line. Like 1,147 rushing yards, 12 touchdowns, averages 4.3 yards a carry. Like, He's been really good this season. Very underrated running back. And the Packers do have a pretty decent passing game, but I think their run game's been better this season. Like, especially like Josh Jacobs, like his ability to just break tackles and just power through the line is simply incredible. Like, he's one of my favorite running backs in football, and I think he's the best player on the Packers. Next team we've got is the Texans, and even though this team has not been impressive this season, I will say one player has been incredible, and that player is Derek Stingley Jr. Huge shout out and honorable mention to Joe Mixon. He's been incredibly good this season, but just Derek Stingley, bro, that's a player you're going to hear a lot of in the future. Dude, his ability to just cover receivers extremely well, like, is so good, bro. Like, his ability to just fly to the football is insane. Like, 46 combined tackles, 5 interceptions. Like, he's been elite. And he's been a huge reason why the Texans defense has been as good as they have been this season. Like, he is incredible. One of the best corners for sure. Again, he's going to be a name we're going to be hearing for a long time, and he is easily the best player on the Texans right now. Next team we've got is the Colts, and there's a couple options you could say, but for me, it is Jonathan Taylor. Like, this whole team has been really inconsistent, especially Anthony Richardson, but even though Jonathan Taylor might not have the most rushing yards, he will probably get to 1,000 soon. Like, he's at 911 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns, averaging 4.4 yards a carry. Like, that's still really good. Like, he's been, like, the only consistent player on that team. Their defense has been terrible. Their offense fully isn't really that good, but Jonathan Taylor has still reigned supreme. He's still been the best player on the Colts. Next team we've got is the Jaguars, and I already know people are going to disagree with me on this one. This one's going to be controversial, but I'm going to give it to Brian Thomas Jr. Like, just listen to all the other Jaguar players. Like, Trevor Lawrence has been bad. Travis Etienne's been terrible. Evan Ingram hasn't been healthy. I mean, Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen have been really good. That's why I say it's a little controversial. I almost said them. But just listen to Brian Thomas Jr. stats. 956 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns. He averages almost 15 yards at every single time he gets the ball. Like, he's been insanely good, especially for a rookie. And he's been the only consistent player on that team. Like, that, the Jaguars right now are terrible, but every single time you watch the Jaguars, you will see Brian Thomas Jr. do great things. Right now, he's the best player on the Jaguars. Next team we've got is the Chiefs, and I'm sorry, it's not Mahomes. Like, he has not been the best player on this team. Like, not even close, honestly. Like, he has not been that good compared to how he usually is. Right now, I would say the best player on this team is Chris Jones. I mean, if you listen to his stats, they're not really impressive. Like, only 5 sacks, only 35 tackles. But just watch a Chiefs game, even though, like, I wouldn't really want to. But just watch a Chiefs game, like, watch how Chris Jones puts up pressure every single play he's on the field. Like, he doesn't have to get a sack every play. He doesn't have to get a tackle every play. But the amount of impact he makes on every single play when he rushes a quarterback is honestly really impressive. Like he hasn't been that great, like, stat-wise, but I would still say he's the best defensive tackle in football. And so far, he has been the best player on the Chiefs. Next team we've got is the Raiders. This is the easiest answer by far. It is Max Crosby. Nobody's even close. I know Max Crosby's not healthy right now, like he's injured, but who else am I going to say? Aiden O'Connell, Desmond Ridder, like, come on, dude. Like, I'm not even going to say any further more because, like, it would just be stupid to. Like, everyone knows that Max Crosby's the best player on the Raiders. Like, it's not even close. Next team we've got is the Chargers, and this is an interesting one. I'm actually going to give it to Ladd McConkey. I think Ladd McConkey's the most underrated receiver in football right now. Like, he's had a really good rookie season so far. Like, 873 passing yards, 5 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns. Like, that's really good. And if you watch Ladd McConkey on the field, like, the Chargers and Broncos are actually playing tonight, so take another look tonight. But just his ability to run routes is honestly really impressive. Like, he's super quick. He knows how to, like, get corners out of, like, their sight. Like, he's really good. And I would not be shocked if he ends up, like, doing even better next season. Like, he's been the best player, like, this on this team. Next team we've got is the Rams. This one's kind of a boring answer because it's kind of obvious. Like, shout out to Kyren Williams because he's been really good this season as well. But I'm going to give it to Puka Nacua. His ability to run routes and his ability to catch the ball, like, he has probably the best set of hands in the NFL right now. Like, don't make me choose between him and Justin Jefferson. Like, that's going to be really difficult. But his route running especially has been extremely impressive, like, the last 2 years. Like, he's a top 5 receiver for sure, in my opinion, when healthy. And so far, like, he's the best player on the Rams. Next team we've got is the Dolphins. This one's also kind of controversial. Like, I know Tyreek Hill is an insanely great, like, athlete and player, but he just has not been that impressive this season. And this season, I'm going to give it to Devon Achane. Like, his stats aren't even that impressive. Like, 641 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. Like, averages 4 yards a game. Like, that part's impressive. But overall, like, not the greatest. But there's really no other, there's no other player on this team that has been as consistent as him. Not even Tyreek Hill. Like, he hasn't even been that good. Like, Tua's been really on and off. Last week, he had a horrible game. But, like, nobody on this team has been that consistent or even that good, but except Devon Achane. So that's why I say Devon Achane so far has been the best player on the Dolphins. Next team we've got is the Vikings, and honestly, big shout-outs to Jordan Addison, Aaron Jones, even Sam Darnold. He's been incredible this season. And Van Ginkel on the defensive side. He's been really good too. But, like, I still have to give it to Justin Jefferson. He's one of the best receivers in the NFL and still the best player on this team. He's been the second best receiver in the NFL this season. 1,243 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns, averages 15 yards every time he gets the ball. Like, he's insane, man. He's going to continue to be one of the best receivers we'll ever see. Like, he's going to be one of the best receivers in this generation. Like, he's going to continue to make a name out of himself. And he's still going to continue to be the best player on this team. Next team we've got is the Patriots. And it actually drives me insane how people do not talk about this guy. Because he is one of the best players at his position. And he's top 5 for sure. And he's so underrated just because nobody talks about him. And that player is Christian Gonzalez. Like, even last year before he got hurt, like, he's been incredible. Like, he's been one of the best corners in football. He's a shutdown corner for sure. Like, one of the only good aspects on the Patriots right now. Dude, like, 57 tackles so far, 2 picks. Like, his ability to shut down receivers is incredible. Something I haven't seen in a long time. Like, it just shows, like, so far this video, like, the amount of talented corners there are in football. And Christian Gonzalez is a huge, like, example of that. And he's been easily the best player on the Patriots. Next team we've got is the Saints. And deep down, I think it's Taysom Hill, but he just hasn't been healthy. So the next one is Alvin Kamara. Like, every single, like, skill player we've had on this team, like, this season has been hurt. Like, our 2 star receivers haven't been playing. Taysom Hill's been out. So many defensive players, but Kamara has been, like, the only player that's been, like, remained to stay healthy for most of the time. Knock on the sturdiest wood ever on that one. But rushing yard wise, he's had like the best season so far in his career. Like he's 950 rushing yards. He should break 1,000 this season finally. 6 touchdowns. Like he averages 4.2 yards a carry. Like he's really good. And he's still one of the best running backs in the NFL when it comes to receiving, like when it comes to catching the ball. Like he's incredible. Like that one-handed catch last week, like that was incredible. I know it's kind of a boring answer for for the Saints because he's always been like voted as the best player, but that's just because it's true. He has been the best player on this team for a while. Next team we've got is the Giants, and there's nobody I can say for the offense other than Malik Neighbors, but even he's not the best player on this team. I think it's Dexter Lawrence. He has also been arguably the best defensive tackle in football. Like 44 tackles, 9 sacks, like quiet but really good. Like he's one of like the remaining good like sparks of this terrible Giants team, and he's been really good for this like his whole career. Like one of my favorite players too. He has such a good personality, and I love how he plays, and I love how funny he is. But that's besides the point. Like, he's an incredible player, and I think he's the best player on the Giants. Next team we've got is the Jets, and I'm not going to say Devontae Adams because only like a couple good weeks is not going to have him as the best player. Overall, I think the best player is Garrett Wilson. Breece Hall is very hit or miss, and also Aaron Rodgers has been washed. And then Sauce Gardner has not been good this season. Like, I don't want to hear it. Like, Sauce Gardner has not been that good. But if you look at Garrett Wilson, 933 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns, averages 11 yards per run. Like, he's been exceptionally well whenever he's been able to get the ball because Aaron Rodgers plays his favorites. Like, I don't see Garrett Wilson leaving yet, but just please, like, get him to a new team where he will get the ball more because I will assure you he will get the ball more and he will boost up his stats and he will be looked at more. I think right now Garrett Wilson has been the best player on the Jets. Next team we've got is the Eagles, and come on, there's no other answer. It's Saquon. Like, nobody's been as good as him. Best running back in the league by far. Like, 1,688 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns, averages 6 yards a carry. Like, he's been insane, especially that this is his first season with a new team. Like, this only proves one thing, that the Giants were the problem. He was not. Like, the Giants absolutely screwed him, and just in return, Saquon's put up, like, the best season of his career. I might not like the Eagles, but I'm glad that Saquon's on a team that he can actually rally around, and he can actually look as good as he has been. Like, he's been easily the best player on the Eagles. Next team we've got is the Steelers, and huge shout-outs to Russell Wilson because he's been really good this season, but I'm still going to give it to TJ Watt. I know he's like not healthy right now, but hopefully he is because they're really going to need him in the playoffs. But, man, TJ Watt has been insanely good his whole career. 54 tackles, 11.5 sacks. Like, dude, there's nothing this dude cannot do. Like, he's tied for the sack record with Michael Strahan like a couple of seasons ago. Like, we already know how incredible this player is. And there's tons of great players around him, but he's been easily like the best player on the Steelers and one of the best they've ever had. Next team we've got is the Niners. This whole team has really been disappointing. Like, a lot of it is because of injuries. I'm not saying it's not. But right now, like, the best player on this team is Fred Warner. Christian McCaffrey has not been healthy this season, and when he did play, he wasn't that good. Debo's been pretty bad. Brandon Ayuk was terrible before he got hurt. George Kittle is a very close second. He's been really good this season. And then Brock Purdy's also very close second or third. Like, he's been good, but it's hands down been Fred Warner. 106 tackles, a sack, and also 2 picks. Like, he's also got a pick 6 under his belt this season. Like, he's been extremely good. Easily the best linebacker in the NFL. Not even close. I know the Niners as a whole have just had a very disappointing season, but Fred Warner has not. He has been the best player on the Niners. Next team we've got is the Seahawks, and I am going to give it to Jackson Smith-Njigba. Dude, like, this receiver on the Seahawks has just made DK Metcalf disappear. Like, nope, he hasn't done anything this season, but Jackson Smith-Njigba has been easily the best receiver on the Seahawks. Like, 994 receiving yards. He should break 1,000 after this week. 5 touchdowns, averages almost 12 yards per run. Like, he's been insanely good. And he's such a good deep threat, too. Like, whenever Geno Smith has been able to, like, throw the ball deep, like, he's always, like, the first receiver he'll throw to. Like, he's such a good deep threat. And, like, there's a couple players you could say still, like, Geno Smith, but honestly, he just hasn't, like, he's not really, like, I don't know if he's even going to play this week. And also, I know DK Metcalf, like, is still been, like, regarded as one of the best, but he just has not been good this season. But for me, it's easily Jackson Smith-Njigba. He's been the best player on the Seahawks. Next team we've got is the Bucks, and I almost said Mike Evans, but I had to be honest. Like, so far, it's Baker Mayfield. Dude, the fact that this player has been able to revive his career the way he has is just, it's astounding to me. Like, if you looked back at 2022, you thought his career was just going to go down a bad path. Like, you thought he was just going to be a backup QB for the rest of his career. And then as soon as he goes to Tampa, he just lights it up, and he just lit up his career. Like, he's back to being, like, a really good starter, like, one of the best quarterbacks in football, honestly. Like, 3,617 passing yards, 32 touchdowns, 14 picks. He does throw a lot of picks, but that's because he takes risks. And a passer rating of 104.1. Like, really good season. Like, he's going to continue to be a great quarterback for this team, I hope, and I hope nothing but the best for him. He's been the best player on the Bucs. Next team we've got is the Titans, and there's really no other competition. The only one I could say is Tony Pollard. Like, nobody's been as good as him. I know L'Jarius needs an incredible safety, but like, he just hasn't been that healthy, and he just hasn't done anything, really. Tony Pollard has, though. Like, he's still been really good. 982 rushing yards behind that terrible offensive line is really incredible. And then 5 touchdowns, averaging 4.3 yards a carry. Like, he's so good, dude. Like, it's honestly really impressive at how good he is. And I can't believe I'm saying this about the Cowboys, but he's making the Cowboys miss this dude because their running back room is so atrocious. Like they're starting to regret, like, replacing Tony Pollard. But at least we could say he's been easily the best player on the Titans. The last team we've got is the Commanders, and I really almost said Terry McLaurin because he has had a really good season. But honestly, I had to be honest, like, it's Jaden Daniels, man. Like, he might not throw for the most yards, but his ability to get the ball out of his hands and his ability to avoid pressure is honestly incredible. Like, 3,045 passing yards, 17 touchdowns, 6 picks, and a passer rating of 101.2. Like, they're really good stats, man. He's been a really good quarterback. And he should be the easy winner for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Like, honestly, it's between him and Brock Bowers, but I would still give the edge to Jaden Daniels. And he's been easily the best player on the Commanders. Actually, I wouldn't say easily. Terry McLaurin puts up a good fight, but he has been the best player on the Commanders. And there you guys have it. That was me giving you my opinion on who is the best player on every NFL team. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments on who you think the best player is on every team and who you think the best player on your favorite team is. So don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, turn on notification bells so you don't miss any of my videos whenever I post. With all that said, I'm Logan Sharon. I'll see you next time.